Today we're talking about not just surviving in motherhood, but thriving in motherhood. What does it actually take? Because I've broken it down to 7 steps. So let's go. Number 1, I want you to write down, what did you need growing up from your parents that you may not have received? Was it validation, acceptance, love? Was it more freedom? Was it boundaries? Were they up and down with their emotions? What did you need and how? And I want you to list 3 ways that you can give those things to your children. Remember that only 2 generations are going to remember you, your kids and your grandkids. So what do you want them to say about you when you're gone? That's a really good place to start. Write it down. Number 2, know your core values. What is it that you actually want to pass on to your kids? My 2 core values are connection and collaboration. That is something that I want to teach my kids, amongst other things, things like financial security, being resilient, trying and taking risks. All of these things are things that I want to teach my children, and therefore, guess what? I have to role model them. I have to live my life with those core values. I can't be a hypocrite, right? We're not doing that anymore. Leave that in the 80s. When you know your core values, guess what? Less guilt, less shame. We love that. Number 3, fix your mindset, strengthen your mindset. You've got to know how to get yourself through tough times, and your mindset is what does it. Some of my favorite mindsets is, this is hard and I'm capable of hard things. Even though I am tired, my child still deserves a hug, or they still deserve empathy. And on that note, even though I yelled, I still deserve compassion. Get curious, not furious. It's a bit cheesy. Okay. But it works. Every time you see a behavior you don't like, you have to try and figure out what is underneath it. They are simply emotionally dysregulated. You don't need to take that personally. With that in mind, remind yourself, this is an emotionally immature person, okay? I do not need to take what they say personally. You have to step away from the huge emotions that they're bringing, because your greatest tool is to be calm. Number 4, if you do have up and down emotions, then you might need to do some healing, and you might need to do some emotional regulation therapy. My favorite way to do this is to write out what's happened, let the emotion come out. So I might be crying if I'm sad, or I might need to go and punch a pillow if I'm angry, but you need to let that emotion out. Okay, or else it's going to get stored in here, and then unfortunately when that happens, you kind of addict everyone around you. So get those emotions out, do something loving for yourself, and then go back to your mindset work and reframe and recognize the thoughts that you are having in that situation. Because often we think when we're emotional, we actually have low IQ. High emotions equals low IQ. And when you're able to go back after you let those emotions out, you'll think more logically about the situation. Number 5, have simple parenting tools. My go-to is Triple S. Okay, for pretty much any situation, you want to start with separating your child, supporting them, and then coming to a solution. Remove them from the overwhelming situation that's happened. If it's in the lounge, take them to their room. You're going with them, yes. You're going to support them. You might reassure them. You might give them hugs. If they don't want any affection, you might just sit in the room with them, okay? You'll be saying things like, I know this is really hard. Oh, you're doing so well. Or you might just be silent. A lot of the time, I just sit there quietly, because anytime I talk, it feels like my daughter gets angrier. Okay, and then the next one is a solution. What is it that they need to learn? What's the behavior replacement? Hey, instead of pushing your sister because she took your toy, you can say, I would like my toy back, please. What do you want to see from them? And then practice that. Number 6 is super freaking boring, but it's routines, because kids thrive on routines. My life has changed by sticking to routines. One of the routines that we have in our household is on school days, the kids need to get up and do their jobs. That means get dressed, do their hair, have breakfast, do their teeth. Only after that is done do they get to play or watch TV or whatever they want to do. And that took about 3 to 6 months of consistently saying first jobs, then play, for them to get there and to stop asking for TV or playtime when they first woke up. And the reason we do it that way is because, number one, it gives me time to actually prep breakfast if they're doing their jobs. They're doing something that's actually going to help us get out of the door. It gives me time to get them their breakfast ready. And it also is kind of like an incentive. And the last one is joy and breaks. This parenting gig is going to be very long if you do not incorporate them into your day-to-day life. Yes, when you start to take breaks, your kids are going to interrupt, and you are simply going to remind them that you're on a mum break and you'll be with them in 5 minutes. You just might have to, when you first start, take 2-minute breaks or even less to help them get used to it. You're going to have to hold that boundary. Before I take a break, I usually check in, like, is there something that I can give them, a toy, a game, put on their favorite show, so that I can reduce the likelihood of being interrupted. When it comes to joy, you're probably going to have to deal with just moments of joy if you've got little ones. I'm talking about sitting in the sun for a little bit, having your cup of coffee, doing a 10-minute workout while they nap, drawing, journaling, venting to a friend on the phone. Whatever brings you joy, how can you incorporate it into your day-to-day parenting life? And it's not also just important for you, it's also important that we show our kids that we can be joyful no matter what life throws at us. We want them to be able to be joyful in their own life, even when it's really hard. That's it for today. If you like, please subscribe. If you've got any questions, please drop them down and I will answer them. Bye.